But she had a kind heart, a kind spirit, and I was proud to say she was my daughter.
A heartbroken mother of Brittany Bolden talks about the tragic end of her beloved daughter. According to the Tuscaloosa Violent Crimes Unit, on December 31st, Bolden was shot and killed by her boyfriend, Lavelle Rogers.
I just don't think Brittany thought that it would go that far. You see what I'm saying? And I mean, maybe none of us really thought that.
I never expected it to be my family. I never expected it to be my sister to be murdered, cold murder in front of her 5-year-old.
Police say Rogers is charged with capital murder. He's being held in the Tuscaloosa County Jail.
December 31st, 2024. While most people were preparing to celebrate the arrival of a new year, a mother of 4 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, was planning something else entirely. She was planning her escape. What happened that New Year's Eve would become the 22nd and final homicide in Tuscaloosa for 2024, marking the highest number of murders in the city's modern history. But behind that statistic was a woman named Brittany Bolden, a 34-year-old nursing student who spent her final day looking at apartments with her mother, searching for a fresh start she would never get to experience. This is a story about love turned toxic, about warning signs ignored, about a woman who tried to help the man who would ultimately take her life, and about the children who witnessed something no child should ever see. What you're about to hear contains details from police reports, family interviews, facing it, and the heartbreaking testimonies of those who loved Brittany most. Because sometimes the most dangerous moment in an abusive relationship isn't when you stay, it's when you decide to leave. Welcome to 247 True Crime Chronicles, where we examine the stories that need to be told, the voices that deserve to be heard, and the lessons that could save lives. If this is your first time here, please take a moment to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Now let's begin. Brittany Bolden grew up in Star Hill, Alabama, where faith wasn't just something you practiced on Sundays. It was woven into the fabric of daily life. She attended church regularly, and that spiritual foundation became the compass by which she raised her 4 children. Those children were her universe. At 17, her oldest was nearly grown. Then came her 13-year-old daughter, her 12-year-old son, and her baby girl who had just celebrated her 5th birthday. Everything Brittany did revolved around giving them a better life than she'd had. She worked relentlessly, juggling multiple jobs simultaneously, just to keep food on the table and clothes on their backs. Friends and family described her as both nurturing and resilient, the type of mother who never missed a school event, never failed to show up when her kids needed her. But Brittany had dreams beyond motherhood. She was enrolled at Shelton State, studying nursing, determined to build a career helping others heal. When she wasn't working or studying, she carved out moments for herself. Simple pleasures like meeting friends for drinks, sharing laughter over life's absurdities, enjoying the company of people who appreciated her infectious energy. Those who knew her say she had this gift for lighting up any room she entered, making everyone around her feel seen and valued. Her life wasn't easy. Single motherhood rarely is, but she was making it work through sheer determination and an unshakable belief that better days were ahead. Then, in the summer of 2023, she met Lavelle Rogers. Lavelle Rogers was also 34 years old, the same age as Brittany. He worked as a truck driver, spending long stretches on the road hauling cargo across state lines. He had 2 daughters of his own, ages 13 and 10, which meant if things got serious, they'd be blending a family of 6 children total. At first, everything seemed right. Lavelle demonstrated exactly the kind of attention that makes someone feel special. He sent flowers without being asked. He showed affection openly. He presented himself as a man who could love Brittany completely while stepping up as a father figure to her 4 kids. Brittany started referring to him as her children's bonus dad, a term of endearment that suggested she saw a real future with this man. And she fell hard. Her social media became a digital scrapbook of their relationship, filled with posts celebrating what she believed she'd finally found after years of struggling alone. During their first holiday season together in 2023, she wrote about waking up in her house with her man and kids, the smell of good food filling the air, her man relaxed and watching the game while the children played around them. It was a portrait of domestic bliss, the kind of life she'd dreamed about. But there were details beneath the surface that friends and family would later recall with painful clarity. When Lavelle and Brittany began dating, he reportedly didn't have a car. He was allegedly facing homelessness. Brittany, working multiple jobs and caring for 4 children while attending nursing school, opened her home to him anyway. She believed in second chances. She believed people could change if you loved them enough. Throughout their first year together, Brittany's social media painted a picture of partnership and support. She posted about how Lavelle helped around the house when exhaustion overwhelmed her, how he engaged with the children when she needed a break, how he cooked meals when she'd been preparing food all week long, how he understood when she needed space for her mental health. She wrote emotionally about men who truly see their partners, who recognize when they're struggling and step in without being asked. She felt grateful, appreciated, deeply in love with someone she thought understood her. On Valentine's Day 2024, she publicly declared her feelings for him. When their 1-year anniversary arrived on July 30th, she celebrated with a heartfelt post wishing him happy birthday and thanking him for being an amazing presence in her life. They even traveled to Miami together, capturing photos that showed laughter and happiness, a beautiful blended family coming together. From the outside, everything looked perfect, but social media only shows what people want you to see. Behind closed doors, according to those closest to Brittany, the relationship was deteriorating. Police had been called to the home multiple times. There was a documented history of domestic incidents between them. And people who loved Brittany were beginning to notice changes. By the end of 2024, Lavelle's own social media activity began shifting. His posts became cryptic, filled with messages about becoming a better version of himself, about pain that nobody else could understand. Something fundamental had changed in him, though what exactly remained unclear to outsiders. Meanwhile, Brittany stopped posting about him altogether. The woman who'd celebrated their relationship so publicly had gone completely silent in her personal life. Family members would later reveal what was happening behind closed doors. Lavelle was allegedly struggling with mental health issues and taking his frustrations out on Brittany. He'd become controlling, consumed by insecurity and jealousy, attempting to dictate every aspect of her life. According to her best friend, Brittany tried desperately to help him work through whatever he was dealing with internally. Cassandra Campbell, Brittany's mother, spoke about how her daughter held on to hope longer than she probably should have. That hope, that belief that love could fix him, kept Brittany in the relationship even as it became increasingly unhealthy. Cassandra explained that when someone starts hitting you, calling you degrading names, belittling your worth, that's not love. That's abuse. But Brittany wanted to believe he could change. She wanted to believe the man who'd sent flowers and written sweet messages was still in there somewhere. Eventually, though, according to her best friend, Brittany recognized the truth. She had to leave, and soon. She'd even expressed a chilling fear to her friend. If she didn't get out, something terrible might happen. So she started planning her exit quietly, making sure Lavelle wouldn't find out until she was ready. December 30th, 2024. Lavelle made 2 posts on social media that would be his last of the year. The first read, "A better version of myself is not a resolution for the New Year's. It's a requirement for me." Hours later, he posted again, "Nobody sees my pain, but everyone sees my mistakes." Whatever internal battle he was fighting, he wasn't seeking help. He wasn't removing himself from the situation. And the next day, everything would reach its breaking point. December 31st, New Year's Eve morning. Brittany and her mother Cassandra went house hunting together. Brittany was searching for a new place for herself and her children, a fresh start away from Lavelle. She kept the apartment viewings completely secret from him. Understanding how controlling he'd become, how explosive his reactions could be to any form of rejection. That afternoon, Brittany spent hours on the phone with her best friend, alternating between FaceTime calls and text messages. During their last video call around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, her friend noticed something unusual. Brittany had this glow about her, a radiance that seemed different than normal. When her friend asked about it, Brittany casually explained she'd just put on makeup. That was all. Looking back, her friend would wonder if something deeper was happening. If somehow, on some level, Brittany knew these were her final hours. When Brittany returned home that evening, Lavelle was there. So were the children. All 6 kids were present in the house, including Brittany's youngest daughter, who was only 5 years old. At some point that evening, Brittany told Lavelle what she'd been doing that day. She told him about the apartment hunting. She told him she was done with the relationship. She was finally moving on. Around 8:30 that night, police received a call about shots fired at a residence in the 3400 block of Joyce Lewis Lane in West Tuscaloosa. When officers arrived, they found 34-year-old Brittany Bolden dead from a gunshot wound. Initially, police were told the injury might have been self-inflicted. But as the Tuscaloosa Violent Crimes Unit began their investigation and spoke with the children who'd been present in the home, a completely different picture emerged. What those children told investigators changed everything. Lavelle Rogers, the man Brittany had celebrated so publicly just a year earlier, was arrested and charged with capital murder. The charge was specifically capital murder rather than standard murder because children were present when Brittany was killed. Under Alabama law, that elevates the severity of the charge considerably. Capital murder in Alabama carries only 2 possible sentences: death penalty or life in prison without the possibility of parole. Lavelle was booked into the Tuscaloosa County Jail without bond, where he remains as his case moves through the legal system. When news of Brittany's death spread, the community reacted with devastation. Her family spoke publicly, hoping their tragedy might prevent another family from experiencing the same loss. Lauren Campbell, Brittany's sister, spoke about how she never expected violence to touch their family. She never imagined her sister would be murdered, especially not in front of her 5-year-old daughter. The 2 sisters were only 11 months apart in age, and Lauren described feeling like half of herself had been ripped away. Cassandra Campbell, Brittany's mother, made an emotional plea to other women trapped in abusive relationships. She urged them to seek help before things escalate, to recognize that abuse doesn't get better over time, it only gets worse. She admitted that part of Brittany's problem was believing things would improve if she just stayed patient enough, loving enough, supportive enough. But love cannot fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed, and patience in the face of abuse isn't virtue. It's danger. Brittany's best friend, who'd literally just finished a FaceTime call with her hours before her death, shared her anguish on social media. Her words painted a portrait of a friendship that transcended typical bonds. She wrote about sitting in total disbelief, desperately wanting someone to wake her from what felt like a nightmare. But it wasn't a dream. The tears were real, and the pain was unbearable. She directed her words at Lavelle, telling him he'd taken a beautiful human being who didn't deserve what happened to her. He'd taken a mother, a daughter, a sister, and most personally, a best friend. All because Brittany tried to leave his abusive, insecure, controlling behavior. The friend revealed that Brittany had stayed with Lavelle despite his issues, trying to help him through his struggles, giving him love when he needed it most. But eventually, she couldn't take it anymore. They'd made plans together for 2025, plans that would never materialize now. Most haunting was the friend's recollection of Brittany expressing a fear that something bad was going to happen. That instinct, that internal warning system, was exactly why she'd been trying to get away from Lavelle. And just hours after their final FaceTime call, he'd taken her life while her child and his child were present in the home. The friend described Brittany as glowing during their last conversation, more beautiful than usual, and wondered if somehow God's angels had been preparing her for what was coming. In the aftermath, more heartbreaking details emerged. Brittany had no life insurance. The family, already devastated by their loss, faced the additional burden of covering burial costs. They started a GoFundMe campaign with a goal of $7,000 for a proper funeral. The community responded, donating over $3,000, but it wasn't enough yet. Meanwhile, tributes flooded social media from classmates, relatives, friends, and strangers who'd been touched by Brittany's story. Cassandra revealed one of the most chilling details about the day Brittany died. After spending the morning apartment hunting with her daughter, Cassandra left the house believing the children's presence would keep Brittany safe. Two of Brittany's daughters and one of Lavelle's daughters were home at the time. She never imagined he would commit violence with the children as witnesses, but the presence of children didn't stop him. If anything, their testimony became the crucial evidence that led to his arrest. The family emphasized that there had been other domestic incidents in the past involving Brittany and Lavelle. Lauren, Brittany's sister, expressed her belief that if Lavelle had simply removed himself from the situation during moments of anger or frustration, her sister would still be alive. Someone could have intervened. Someone could have saved her. On January 11, 2025, nearly 2 weeks after her death, Brittany's funeral was held. Family members, friends, classmates, and church members gathered to celebrate her life and mourn her loss. They remembered her unwavering faith, her dedication to her 4 children, her ambition to become a nurse and help others, her kindness even toward those who didn't deserve it. But alongside the beautiful memories was anger at the senselessness of her death. She was too young. Her children needed her. She had so much life ahead of her. There was also guilt. People replayed conversations in their minds, wondering if they'd missed warning signs, questioning whether they could have done something differently to change the outcome. Her story shouldn't be reduced to how she died. It should encompass how she lived. Brittany Bolden's death represents the 22nd homicide in Tuscaloosa during 2024, the highest number in modern city history. But behind that statistic was a woman with hopes, dreams, children who depended on her, and a community that loved her. Her tragedy illuminates several critical truths about domestic violence. It can happen to anyone, regardless of strength, intelligence, or resources. Brittany was working, attending school, raising 4 children largely on her own. She wasn't weak or helpless. She was a survivor who'd been coping with difficult circumstances long before she met her killer. If you're still here and recognize yourself in Brittany's story, please reach out for help. Contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Tell someone you trust what's happening. Create a safety plan before you leave. You deserve to live without fear. Brittany Bolden deserved to ring in the new year with her children. She deserved to finish her nursing degree. She deserved to grow old watching her kids build their own lives. She deserved safety in her own home. Instead, 4 children lost their mother on New Year's Eve because a man couldn't accept that she was leaving him. Rest in peace, Brittany Bolden. May your story save the lives your death couldn't.